in spreading Krishna consciousness in 1965 to people who knew nothing about Krishna and who externally were totally unqualified to know or understand. And by lifestyle and behavior were not even by Vedic civilization considered human beings. And those people became gurus and spread the movement all over the world. Have you ever wondered how that was possible? Well, you want to know the answer? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If the holy name is taken without offense, that is possible. And that, I think that is one of the most vivid proofs of the power of the holy name. Because that's what the holy name did. It took people from the lowest position, put them into the highest position, and empowered them to spread Krishna consciousness, even when they hadn't even been practicing Krishna consciousness for a year. They were going around the world and teaching others and making others devotees. Is that amazing? That's testimony to the power of the holy name. Of course, it's testimony to Srila Prabhupada's power. No doubt. Not any ordinary person could do it. But do you think the Krishna consciousness movement could have spread around the world like that without the holy name? If we had everything else, but we had no Hare Krishna mantra, then imagine what ISKCON would be like. Imagine what your life would be like. Imagine what the world would be like. But then I think by understanding that, it becomes more clear what the holy name is and what it does. Because if you just take that out of the Hare Krishna movement, you'd have a much different movement. And we would not have been able to do what we did. We would not have been able to purify the people we purified. Now, in your case, most of you, or many of you, came to America not as devotees, and you became devotees or learned or took Krishna consciousness up seriously when you came to America. So that's also a very interesting phenomenon, because that is the story of many, maybe not all of you, but many people who came to America from India to go to school or to get a job, came here and they weren't devotees and they became devotees here. So that's another amazing phenomenon. You had all this facility opportunity in India. And here you came and you got the Maha Mantra and your life changed. And you got the association of devotees. So sometimes in our own chanting, we may not feel the potency. Like, I don't see the potency. I'm not advancing. I'm not getting a taste, etc. But just look at what the holy name has done. Look at the transformation that is made in so many people's lives. And there you can see right in front of your eyes. This is the power of the holy name. There's an example. It's a beautiful example. You take two circles, one smaller circle and one larger circle. So the smaller circle, which is in the larger circle, doesn't go as low and it doesn't go as high. And the larger circle goes lower and it goes higher. The smaller circle is compared to the Gayatri mantra. And the larger circle is compared to the Maha Mantra. The Gayatri mantra doesn't go as low because you have to be qualified before you get it. And it doesn't go as high. The Maha Mantra goes down to the lowest person and takes them all the way up to Vrindavan in executing bhakti in the mood of the gopis. And so now, one of the most mind-boggling and magnanimous things that's ever happened in the universe is that holy name, which takes you to a higher position than all spiritualists in the world ever achieve, outside of a few rare souls. It's taken you all the way into the Leela of Radha and Krishna to become part of that Leela and to understand that Leela in its most intimate way in the groves of Vrindavan. That understanding was given by Lord Chaitanya, and it was given to who? To the bottom. So it went down to the bottom, to the people totally unqualified, as I said, by Vedic definition, wouldn't even be wouldn't even be considered, you say, oh, maybe they're Shudras. No, Shudras is considered a civilized human being within Varnashram. And most people who take up Krishna consciousness, or many of them, would not even be qualified to be called humans. There would be outside Varnashram. And that holy name has been given to them and then put them and given them access to the highest, deepest understandings of Krishna consciousness, understandings that even great saints and sadhus were not privy to. Is that amazing? And now here we are, a few years ago, just like ordinary people. And now here we are, we're chanting the holy name, we're visiting the holy dhams, we're talking about Radha and Krishna, we're understanding these things. That is the power of the holy name. That's why Lord Chaitanya in his Shishastakam said it's the life and soul of all transcendental knowledge. Within the holy name, there is an infinite number of realizations you can have that Krishna will give you, even though you may feel unqualified or you may not feel like you're very Krishna conscious. There's an infinite number of realizations that come from properly chanting. And sometimes, I don't know if you have this experience, but sometimes you'll talk to a very young devotee and they're chanting and they're enthusiastic and they'll share their realizations and they have amazing realizations and they're very young in Krishna consciousness. That's coming by the mercy of the holy name. They're getting these realizations. Shubha Vilas, is my voice breaking up or is it okay? Or my video may be breaking up. Is the voice okay?
It's 95% okay. In the middle, sometimes it's still cracking.
Bad internet connection. Let me see if there's anything I can do to reduce the resolution on the video, it might help. No, I don't have high definition on. Yeah, it's just that I have a webcam. It's 1080p and I'm 50 yards from the router. Anyway, that was my introduction. Just some things I was feeling. And what I would like to do now is I'd like to ask you to share what you remember from yesterday. So this will be a way to review, because I don't like to go forward until I'm sure that everyone is clear on what we had discussed yesterday. So all you have to do is raise your hand, and then Shubha Vilas, you can call them. You can physically raise your hand or you can virtually raise your hand. And then just share one thing you remember from yesterday's class, perhaps one thing that really, oh, Parker. Oh, Parker, you're unmuted already. Okay. What do you remember that's significant to you?
That chanting the holy name is the most important thing that we do. Everything else is meant to give us faith to chant the holy name with full absorption. So we better do it as best we can.
Yes, that's the foundation upon which you build good japa. Because we have this saying in America, anything worth doing is worth doing well. And if you don't think it's worth doing, you won't think it's worth doing well, right? So the more you understand the importance of the holy name within the practice of bhakti, then naturally, the more importance you give to it. You naturally, and I give an example here. I forget where I was. I think I was in Trinidad or somewhere, and they gave me this pen. So it's, it's not solid gold or anything, but it's a nice pen, right? So because this pen it's a nice pen, but also it obviously costs a little bit of money. So I take care of it. But if you give me a Bic pen, you know, a little 99-cent Bic pen or 25-cent Bic pen, I probably won't take care of it that carefully as I would the more expensive pen. That's natural. And so if you treat the holy name like a 25-cent pen, you're not going to take care of it as well as if you treat it like a $100 pen. And I think a lot of the problem that ensues in a devotee's japa is they treat the holy name like a 25-cent plastic pen rather than like a $100 silver pen or a $1,000 gold pen. So that's why it's important for us to have a philosophical grounding in understanding the position of the holy name in the practice of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, we may think, well, everything's important, which is true, but this is most important. This is, as Prabhupada's exact words are, most essential. Chanting 16 rounds is most essential. Right? So it's kind of, generally you don't say most essential. Generally you say essential. But the reason Prabhupada said most essential is because he meant everything's essential in bhakti, but this is the most essential. So most essential means this is one thing you don't compromise on. This is one thing you do as well as possible. You know, okay, I have to, it's like if your doctor said, you have to eat this diet, take this medicine, do this exercise. But the most essential thing is to do the exercise, because if you don't do the exercise, you're going to die of a heart attack this year. Like, oh, okay. So diet is important. The medicine's important, but the exercise is most essential. Like that's something, you know, maybe I miss one day on my medicine. Maybe I go off the diet slightly now and then, but this exercise, I have to do it every day religiously. That's the meaning of most essential. So that is a very, that's the foundation upon which we build good japa. And without that foundation, the impetus may not be very strong, because we may not understand how important it is. And we may think, well, so many things are important. And they are important. But most essential is an interesting combination of words, isn't it? Okay, so I hope that caught your attention, most essential. If you can remember those two words, most essential. Chanting your rounds is most essential. Okay, you have to get up early, you have to read, you worship the deities, associate with devotees, do Sankirtan, spread Krishna consciousness. But most essential, 16 rounds. That means you might minimize, limit something else, but this is where you cannot adjust. The other thing is, when we say most essential, the one problem that devotees have is they think, well, okay, I'm going to chant 16 rounds every day. I'm not going to minimize it. But then while they're chanting, they're not making it most essential. So you have two things. I can say, okay, this is the most essential thing. It's the first thing I do. When I get up, I bathe, and then I chant. So therefore, I'm making it most essential. And then while you're chanting, you're doing something else. So it's no longer most essential. What you're thinking of now becomes most essential. What your body is doing is not always most essential. It's where your heart is. That's what's most essential, right? So I'm making japa my priority. There I am early in the morning, Hare Krishna, and my mind is at the office. So japa is no longer most essential. My office is most essential, right? So most essential means it's holistic. It has to be everything: body, mind, and words. Body, mind, soul. And so generally, when you make it most essential, then when you're chanting, it becomes the most important thing. So your mind doesn't get occupied with other things. When your mind gets occupied with other things, your japa is no longer most essential. Rabindrasura Prabhu used to say something like, give Krishna the courtesy of your attention. He said the seeds of attraction are planted within attention, and give Krishna the courtesy of your attention. It's just like if I'm talking to you out of courtesy, you give me your attention, and it's disrespectful. Or if you're talking to me, it's disrespectful of me not to give you my attention. So if we're not giving attention, it's no longer most essential. But we think, well, I'm chanting, so I'm doing it. No. Chanting in and of itself is not doing it. It's when you give your attention, then it's most essential, right? And if you're not giving your attention to something, it means that's not that important, at least not at that point in time, right? Ladies, if you're talking to your husband and he doesn't give he doesn't give his attention to you, you feel like you're not important for him, isn't it? Or vice versa. If you're talking to your wife and she's not giving you your attention, it makes you feel like you're not important. Like, she's on the phone, blah, 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 blah. And then you say, I have to talk to you. And she'll say, oh, later. No, it's really important. No, I'm talking to so-and-so. No, but this, I really need to talk. No, just wait. And you feel like, oh, the other person's more important than you, right? So you're chanting and you're, in your mind, you're somewhere else. So you're not giving your attention to Krishna. So part of our bhakti during japa is to give our attention to Krishna. And that attention comes when we imbibe this idea that chanting our rounds is most essential. Okay, thank you, Parker, for that. Who else would like to share?
Yes,
What
Casey
they remember?
Mataji.
Or
Hare Krishna. My name is Casey. I offer my humble obeisances. Yesterday, you spoke of how it's important to look at japa as forming a relationship and calling out the Lord's name with love and attention.
Yes. So not a ritual, not a process, not a mechanical process, which we can easily fall into. I didn't mention this point, Casey, that when we do something every day, it becomes very easy to do it mechanically because the habit becomes embodied in every cell of our body. We can just do it, So like you this one devotee named Yadunath, he has a joke. He said, ever since I became a devotee, my left arm got stronger. And why is that a joke? He said, because I chant with my right hand and I cook the sweet rice with my left hand. I clean, I'm doing everything with my left hand now while I'm chanting, right? So it's like, yeah, I have this chanting down. I can chant and I can be doing my email. I can be doing so many things. So that's the problem. When we do something every day, we don't have to consciously do it. We can do it unconsciously. That's what a habit is. It's an unconscious competence. And the danger of unconscious competence is we become unconscious of what we're doing. And we don't want to become unconscious of our japa. So when it becomes mechanical, we become unconscious, and we're doing it every day. So it's just very easy. And the mantra is rolling off our lips. And we may be in a totally different world. And that's the meaning of mechanical japa. It's mindless and robotic. So that's something we have to be conscious of. It can be quite easy to be mindless and robotic. And I'm sure you've all experienced it. Right? Has anyone not experienced robotic japa? Raise your hand if there's any time in your life you never chanted like a robot. We'll give you a gold star if you raise your hand, and we'll send you a gulab jamun, because you might be the only one in ISKCON to have that experience. Okay, so that's something to be conscious of. Be conscious that I can be unconscious when I chant. Thank you, Casey. Where are you? Where do you live? Baja California? Or is that Baja? You have to unmute to answer.
Yes, you're
Where do you
unmute
live?
now. Please speak.
I'm in St. Pete Beach, Florida. That's Baja. That's Baja.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Because we have a temple in Baja California, in Tijuana. So I thought, oh, maybe you're from that temple, and it's a yoga
no.
center. Yeah. Okay. St. Petersburg. Okay. Today we've been blessed with cool weather after a long hot summer. You have cool weather down there also?
Yeah,
It's cool up
it's
here.
cooler. It's 70, so it's cooler.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah. Thank
70 in Ireland is a heat wave.
you.
70 in Florida is cooler. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
relative world. Okay, who else wants to share what we discussed yesterday?
We have quite a few, Prabhuji, in the chat. Would you like me to read, or how would you
Okay.
like?
Yeah, you can read them.
Okay,
No
so
problem.
Dhananjay Pandit Prabhu is mentioning that the best part was the chanting is not a ritual, but it's a relationship. So that's a comment.
Yeah, so we have you know, something I'd like to share with you, and it may be difficult to articulate because it really is understood if you have this experience. But there's an intimacy that with Krishna that is accessible in a very special way through japa. And I know a lot of devotees have an easier time with kirtan than they have with japa, but think of japa this way. Kirtan is social. You're with a lot of people. But japa, it's just you and Krishna alone. Even though there's other people, it's a one-on-one personal relationship. And there's so much potentially that you can get from japa. There's so much potentially that happens during japa. So many realizations, as we were saying, and so much sweetness, so much connection with Krishna, so much experience of the sweetness of Krishna consciousness. And I just kind of want to entice you with this statement that there's a lot more awaiting you, a lot more sweetness awaiting you, a lot more transcendental bliss awaiting you. If you take your japa, if you take the holy name properly, it will open up a whole universe that you didn't even know existed. And for those who enter that universe, their japa is the most amazing experience. It is the highlight of their day. It is something they look forward to. It is one of the deepest experiences they have. And I just want to kind of be like an advertisement right now for the holy name to entice you to extract all the benefits that lie just beneath the surface of Namaparad. There's so much that lies within the holy name that the holy name is willing to give you if you know how to properly access the code, so to speak, break the code of the holy name, so to speak. And every time we chant, we can think there's so much I can access now. And if I don't chant properly, I can say, fie on myself. I can condemn myself. You could have gone so much more deeply. You could have had so many more realizations. You could have experienced so much more transcendental inspiration and ecstasy. But you didn't give your attention properly, and you didn't get what you could get. Maybe tomorrow we can go deeper. And then as you try and you go deeper, you'll start experiencing a sweetness, a taste. And you'll realize there's so many rounds I chanted. I blocked myself from this because I wasn't chanting properly. I didn't understand this connection between myself and Krishna that's there in the holy name, the deep connection. Then as you start to taste it, you just want to chant better, go more deeper, and it'll transform your spiritual life in many, many ways. And then what happens is the material world just, it no longer really becomes a problem for you, because now you're experiencing the holy name in such a profound way, in such a relishable way, that nothing's going to compare with that. And that becomes like the highlight of your day, but not only that, the highlight of your life. That becomes your lifeline in Krishna consciousness. And then when that is strong, you remain strong. And although this is funny to say, but if you can chant that way, you won't have any trouble with Maya. In fact, if you chant that way, you'll kind of forget that Maya even exists. Wouldn't that be nice? Prabhu, how you doing? Is Maya bothering you? Maya, who's Maya? Oh yeah, Maya. I forgot. Yeah. Maya. Oh yeah, I haven't seen her in years. Yeah. I thought she died or something. I don't know. Maya dies in the wake of your pure chanting. You'll actually feel that way. Wouldn't that be nice? How are you doing? Is Maya bothering you? I don't know. I haven't seen her in years. I don't know. I thought she went somewhere else. She doesn't visit me anymore. That's possible. Okay. If you could achieve that level, that would be good, right? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Shubha.
So we have
Shubha Vilas.
about 15 more comments in the chat.
Okay. Good. We need to review all this. It's important.
Sudhir Prabhu from Tampa is mentioning that chanting is holy name is the only lifeline. And pure chanting is the essence of Krishna conscious philosophy.
Yes, that's an important point. And I always found it an interesting statement. Chanting is the essence of our philosophy. You know, because chanting sounds like a practice, not a philosophy, right? So to say it's the essence of our philosophy means that when you study the Shastra, the essence, it ultimately boils down. What's the essence? What's the essence of your philosophy? Chant Hare Krishna. That's the essence. Because that will do everything. And when you purely chant, you'll know everything. You'll have everything. Okay, next one.
Next is from Amsulas Prabhu from Memphis, Tennessee. He's mentioning that focusing on quality of chanting is the most important. And what's the most important thing is our intention or attitude towards improving our japa.
Yeah, and the easiest way to understand this idea of intention is, as we said, that's in Bhagavad Gita, Patra Pushpam Palam Toyam, when Krishna is saying, basically saying, it's not what you offer me, it's with the mood in which it is offered. That's what's important. So why would it be any different with the holy name? And I think that where we run into a problem is we think, well, the holy name's a pure sound vibration. So if I just chant the holy name, the pure sound vibration will work. But that's not the whole picture, because the intention with which we chant is the determining factor as to the quality of the japa. And the quality of the japa affects the purity that we receive from chanting. So if chanting were something material, it's just like an acid. You put an acid on something and it will have an effect. And no matter what we're all thinking, oh, I don't believe this acid is going to do anything. Well, whether you believe it or not, it will. I don't believe this fire is going to burn the paper. No, fire burns paper. But with the holy name, because the holy name is a person, the way you approach it affects the way it approaches you. You're going to approach a fire any way you want, but it's going to burn. But how you approach Krishna, he reciprocates. So if we think the holy name is a ritual, we depersonalize the holy name. It's just, if you think the holy name is a process, you depersonalize the holy name, which is a person, which is Krishna, into oh, Krishna, you're just a process. No, the holy name's a person. And therefore, as we know with any person, it's not always what you do, but it's your attitude with which you do it, right? Let's say you give me a present. but I know your attitude is you're going to ask me for some favor. That's why you're giving me the, why'd you cook me this? He never cooks me anything. Now he baked me a cake, and I'm thinking he's going to ask me for something. Yesterday, I just inherited $10 million from my great grandfather. And the next day, somebody bakes me a cake. This is strange. I think they're going to ask something. So cake is very nice, but the intention with the cake is baked is really the issue. So don't think that if I just chant, it will work, but it has to be chanted in the proper mood because it's a relationship. And relationships don't work if the mood isn't there. And there's a story that illustrates this. Sometimes we would be criticized because we wouldn't pronounce Sanskrit properly. We wouldn't even pronounce the Hare Krishna mantra properly. We'd say Krishna, was actually Krishna in Sanskrit, or we'd say Krishna, Hare Krishna Prabhu, with that American accent. So, we're Americans, so we say everything like Americans. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Jai Radhe. That's not the proper pronunciation of Sanskrit. It's Hare Krishna, Jai Radhe. So we didn't know that. And so occasionally people would tell Prabhupada, your disciples, they don't pronounce things properly. And Prabhupada would say, yes, I know. He said, but Krishna knows that they're calling him. So if you're more in the process ritualistic attitude, you'll think you have to pronounce the mantra properly, because if you don't pronounce it properly, it's not going to work. And you have to pronounce it like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you don't pronounce it like that, no benefit. It's actually more or less the opposite. Because we're preaching Krishna consciousness all around the world. And if you listen to the devotees' accents, they're all saying Krishna in different ways. Hare Krishna. That's more the South American Italian. Hare Krishna Prabhu. And I forget how the Russians do it, but it's kind of similar. It's the natural way they speak. So the way they speak is the way they say Hare Krishna. Gabriel, did I do it right? Hare Krishna. Or is that Italian? Anyway, you've all heard this. You understand. So, if that's the case, that you have to pronounce it properly, I think none of us are going back to Godhead, because most of us, even Indians, if you're from South India, then you say Krishna, or, Bengali, you say Krishna. So nobody's doing the pure Sanskrit, Ramo. Prabhupada jokes, who's this Ramo? Who are they talking about? Ramo. I don't know Ramo. You know Ramo? You know who Ramo is? So, Hare Krishna, Hare Ramo. No, it's Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. So even in India, we're mispronouncing. And so Prabhupada said, yes, I know, but Krishna knows who they're calling. So Krishna sees the heart. So if you think it's just the Maha Mantra is a ritual, then, none of us are pronouncing it properly. And how is it that we're not pronouncing it properly and we're becoming purified? That's amazing. No, because it's the intention. It's the heart. That's what Krishna hears. Krishna doesn't really care so much that you have perfect, proper pronunciation of Sanskrit. Fantastic. Good for you. But I'm more concerned about what's going on in your heart than what's coming out of your lips, right? So, and Shakespeare said, he said, it's not the words that communicate, it's the mood behind the words. That's what you feel, isn't it? I can say, I love you, and you can translate it as, I hate you, because I may be pretending because I want to take advantage of you. Or sometimes a woman says, I hate you. That means I love you. I mean, men have to figure this out. I don't know. It's not so easy for us to figure it out. But sometimes they say, I hate you, and they mean I love you. So the words and what you mean may not always be the same. So you, one devotees often say, if I'm chanting and I don't mean what I'm chanting, Krishna, please engage me in your service, I don't even mean it. Krishna's looking at us going, thinking, you're chanting Hare Krishna, you don't even mean it, you know? You're not like, what are you communicating to me? You know? And I think the sad thing is, a lot of times we're communicating to Krishna as I just want to get my rounds done. Krishna, can you help me get my rounds done? My only intention is get them done because I promised my guru I would do it, but I really don't want to do this. So if that's what we're communicating to Krishna, how are we ever going to expect to gain a taste and go deeper in Krishna consciousness? So what you communicate while you're chanting is really what's most important. And I would say that's the essence of really any Japa workshop, Japa retreat, Japa class, is to refine the intention of your chanting so that when you're chanting, it's intentional, it's not process, ritualistic, it's not, oh, I just want to get this done. Or I don't like doing this, but I'm doing it out of duty. You know, how would you like to be married to someone who doesn't like you, but they stay with you because it's their duty? You wouldn't be very happy. And someone's thinking, oh, that's how my marriage is now. All right, not a happy marriage, right? Yeah, after you've been married like 50 years, sometimes it gets that way. So, but, you know, okay, I'll be your husband, but I don't like you. I'll take care of you, but I don't like you. How does that make you feel? Okay, Krishna, I'll chant 16 rounds, but I don't really like to. So we should learn to like to, because Krishna's looking at us thinking, you poor thing. You're chanting 16 rounds and you don't even want to do it. You're chanting 16 rounds, you don't even like me. You're chanting 16 rounds, you don't even like it. But when Krishna sees you're relishing it and you have an intention to connect, then Krishna says, here's my man, here's my woman. We got something good going on here. So the intention is everything. That you know, in bhakti, it's all about intention, isn't it? Because you can do something perfect with the wrong intention. And then you can do something wrong with the right intention, like Vidura's wife, who offered Krishna banana peels. Right. So obviously, when your guru comes to your house, you don't say, would you like a banana? And when he says yes, you give him the peel and throw the banana in the garbage. But that's what happened with Vidura's wife, because she was like, you know, sometimes devotees say, when they were with Prabhupada, they just froze and they couldn't think, you know. Prabhupada would give them their name at initiation, and then you'd say, what's your name? Go, I don't know. I was just stunned being in front of Prabhupada. So it was something like that. Krishna comes over and she's stunned. And, you know, Krishna accepted the banana peel. And, you know, if somebody offered me a banana peel just because they're so stunned, I would be like, could you wash off the banana? Is the banana somewhere? Could you wash it off? Krishna's one step beyond that. He ate the banana peel. And so this is very nice. I like the banana peel. So Krishna eating banana peel is like our feeble attempt to pronounce the Hare Krishna mantra properly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's like the banana peel japa, but Krishna accepts it. So you can chant banana peel japa, but if your intention is right, that's what Krishna accepts. So you can do the wrong thing with the right intention. Krishna accepts it. You can do the right thing. I'm a pujari. I do puja this way, and I walk off the altar. I think I'm the best person in the universe. I did the right thing with the wrong intention, right? Better make a mistake and have the right intention. Okay, so that's really the essence of like the point from which you improve your japa is your intention. And we'll talk more about that after we do the review. Okay, so what else?
Okay.
Who else wants to share?
Deepa Mataji is mentioning that she liked the point that how chanting in different times of the day is different, and we need to do like a pre-japa prayer
Yeah.
that I'm not qualified before we start chanting
Yeah.
to set the right mood.
Yeah. This is I call it like the meditator's mood. What's the mood of meditation? Like when you're going to chant, what's the mood? What's the consciousness you want to be in before you do it? And I remember once I was in Italy and there was a devotee producing some music for his spiritual master, and his spiritual master called him and said, "Why is it taking so long to do this?" He said, "I'm not in the mood. Things are going on in my life and it's not the mood." And if you're a writer and there's too much disruption in your life, you can't write. It's not the right, you need a peaceful environment, right? Isn't it? Or you're an artist or something and you have 100 kids running around your house. I mean, how can you focus, right? So there has to be a mood which is created in order to do something properly, right? You're going to give a class. You need to prepare. You need to pray. You need to be in the right consciousness. We offer our Mangalacharna before we give class. We're trying to create the mood. And if you're in the audience, also some mood of paying attention. And so one of the problems that I often see with devotees is when they begin chanting, they don't cultivate the mood before they begin. They just start chanting. And that's also indicative of process-oriented japa. If it's a process, why do I need a mood? Isn't it? I don't need a mood. I just need to do the process. If it's about intention and mood, then naturally before I begin chanting, I gather myself, I put myself in a certain consciousness. This is what I want to achieve with my japa. Now I'm going to be connecting with Krishna, etc. Whatever mood you want to create, and then you create it. And then when you begin chanting, you'll notice it's different because you're in the right mood, which is true with everything, right? An example, I think, that men can understand. When you come back from work, you may have so many things on your mind, but when you come in the house, there's your wife, there's your children, your your mind can't be at work anymore. It has to shift. Now it's family mood, right? Then you go to work, and then it has to switch from family mood to work mood, right? Otherwise, if you're in family mood at work or in your work mood with your family, it doesn't work, right? So it's something like that. Everything requires a mood, a shift. And then when you're in the mood, you can do it better. Okay, what else? Oh, you're muted. Shubha Vilas, you're muted.
Sorry. So Hani Arora is mentioning that chanting with the mood to please Krishna. Some of them are like paraphrased, which we covered.
Yeah, okay. So one of the offenses, although it's not listed exactly in these words, but to chant to get something material, that's an offense to the holy name. Like, I'll chant, Krishna, please give me this job that I applied for yesterday. Or, Krishna, please give me good grades. Give me good grades on my test. I think this devotee is thinking, we normally do kirtans. Let me just send him a message. Normally do kirtans at this time. Okay, what did I just say? What did I just say?
It's an offense to pray for something material like passing in the test or give a job.
Yeah. Good grades. Let me do good grades. That's not Krishna. Krishna didn't give the holy name. so you could get better grades or a better job. That's not why he gave you the holy name. He gave you the holy name to connect with him. So we don't want to use the holy name for something material. What was the point she made? The holy name. Oh yeah, the what was the
To
point? Or
please
she,
Krishna.
yeah, we chant to please Krishna, not to please ourselves. That is the big transition from material to spiritual life that is so hard. Because material life, basically everything everything we do and think is to please ourselves. Isn't it? Oh, let's go look at that. I'd like to see that. Let's go smell that. That smells good. Let's eat this. This tastes good. Oh, let's put this music on. I want to hear this. Our whole life is just 5 cents, just gratify 5 senses 24 hours a day. Isn't it? Oh, touch this silk. It's really soft. Oh, Prabhu, you have to see this video. It's amazing. So we're always occupied with satisfying one or more of the senses. That's conditioned life. And so when we become devotees, that tendency is there. So we chant Hare Krishna, to chant Hare Krishna to feel good or to feel peaceful, or no, it's for Krishna's pleasure. And if you please Krishna, believe me, you'll feel peaceful, you'll feel good, much better than you could feel by trying to feel good on your own. Okay, next.
So Dinanath Prabhu is mentioning that we should chant 16 good rounds and the motive should be pure.
Yeah. 16. I can give you 16 counterfeit. What would you rather have? 1,600 counterfeit dollars or 1,600 real dollars, or 6 real dollars, 16, excuse me. 1,600 counterfeit or 16 real? You'd rather have real dollars, right? So you can chant unlimited numbers of counterfeit rounds. Not really valuable, but chant. You know, we say to our guru at initiation, I will chant 16 rounds. And I always say to my disciples, what kind of rounds? Chant 16 rounds is, you can chant, you can lay down on your bed, schnick, schnick, bam, ram. Guru Maharaj, I did my 16 rounds. No, that's not the vow you're making. You're vowing to chant 16 good rounds. So that's important. When you say, when you think I have to chant my rounds, think I have to chant 16 good rounds, not just get them done somehow or other. So I can, I often say, when you get initiated, you get your ticket back to Godhead, and you keep that ticket validated every day with 16 rounds. So some of us think, well, somehow or other, I just have to chant 16 rounds to keep this ticket validated. But 16 bad rounds doesn't validate your ticket. And so don't make that mistake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next
He's also
one.
mentioning that everything is okay if it helps our japa and nothing is okay if it does not help our japa.
Yeah. That's an expansion on no hard and fast rule. Because so many questions come up. Is this good? Is it okay to chant japa this way, that way? And a lot of those questions can be answered just by asking, is that going to help you become more absorbed? Is that going to help you become more prayerful, more relationship oriented? And if the answer is yes, then generally that will be the right thing. Okay, next.
Vaswati Sarchar Mataji is mentioning that we chant the holy name to please Krishna and build a personal relationship with Krishna.
Yes, we've discussed that.
Vrindavan Mataji is mentioning that bad japa should not become a habit, so it's important to remain alert.
Yeah. This is a real problem, because the reality, for good or for bad, is that what we do every day becomes a habit. It's just you can't avoid it. That's how habits are developed. You do something, you do the same thing repeatedly, day in, and day out, and then it becomes a habit, which is good news if we develop good habits, and bad news if we develop bad habits. And many of us inadvertently have developed bad japa habits. So that just becomes the way we chant. And sometimes when the problem becomes severe, we may even think, I don't even know how to chant good japa. I don't even think I can chant good japa, because the bad japa habit has become so deeply ingrained that we don't know how to chant well. In that situation, as with breaking any habit, it's going to require effort, especially in the beginning, more effort. As the habit is broken by replacing the bad habit with good habits, then one fine day, you will realize that you have now become habituated to chanting good japa. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice that you have a habit that it's impossible to chant bad japa? Because you've developed the right mood and the right japa habits, that it's virtually impossible not to chant good rounds. Well, that's possible. And that's my hope by having these workshops and seminars, that you will refine your japa and regularly practice these good habits, so that they eventually become the natural way that you chant. Wouldn't that be good? I mean, could you imagine how nice that would be? Like even if you tried to chant bad japa, you couldn't. Prabhu, could you chant? Can you chant bad japa? No, I don't know how. Well, just try. I don't know how. It's like, ask Beethoven, can you write a bad song? I don't know how to write a bad song. Shakespeare, can you write a paragraph that's just like really bad? I don't know how to do that. Prabhu, can you chant a bad round? I don't know how to do that. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes? So that's possible, but you have to practice, and then you'll have the habit. Okay, next one.
Next one is more like a question. So Puna Mataji is asking, chanting the Maha Mantra without beads is considered chanting, or is it a form of kirtan?
No, it can be considered japa, but Prabhupada said 16 on the beads, unlimited off the beads. Because devotees, they say, I'm cooking, but I can't chant on the beads, or driving this, and yeah. So then Prabhupada's answer is 16 on the beads, unlimited off the beads. So it's still japa. In one sense, you could say, if you're cooking and Hare Krishna, you're singing. It's just, it's you alone. It's considered kirtan because kirtan is loud. But then loud Hare Krishna, that's also can be considered kirtan as well. So japa is generally softly Hare Krishna, like that. But it's all good. But just do your prescribed number on your beads, then you're good. That's the principle. Okay.
Thank you.
Next
one is from Kashish Mataji. She's mentioning Hare Krishna, chant and chant, only to please Krishna, for sure. So it's more like the attitude to please Krishna.
Yeah, yes.
And Dhiranath Prabhu mentioned a few comments. Move on to Kasturi Manjari Mataji is mentioning that I may have impure desires, but whatever Srila Prabhupada says, I will do it. That is purity.
Yes. And praying, you can, there's two things. One is having the pure desire, and one is praying for the pure desire. So we should chant with a pure desire, and we should chant with a prayer to be able to chant with a pure desire. You can do both. Interesting, right? I'm chanting to Krishna with a prayer, oh holy name, give me the desire or ability to chant purely. You can do that also. Okay, next.
Next is more of a question. Umesh Prabhu is asking, when you chant the non-essential chanting, does that come under offensive chanting? Non-essential.
Non-essential. Not sure. Oh, yeah. In a sense, yeah. There's different degrees of offenses, different degrees of namabhas, but you'll ultimately be able to know on the basis of your experience with the holy name. It's like how do I know I'm committing offenses? How do I know that I'm chanting properly? Well, Prabhupada, you've heard this example. It's so funny. He says, when you go to a restaurant, you don't have to ask the waiter if you're full. Excuse me, waiter, I have a question. Am I full? Have I eaten enough? You know, that's like, it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But so in the same way, when you're chanting the holy name, you'll know if you're chanting offensively. You'll know if you're chanting with offense, because you'll be able to experience the detachment, the inspiration, the satisfaction, the happiness that the holy name provides. And if there's a lack of that, then you know, okay, I'm not chanting as well as I should because I'm not experiencing the spiritual strength and inspiration and happiness that should be there from properly chanting. So that's one way to answer this question, to know, is my chanting offensive or not? How do you feel? Are you experiencing Krishna in his name? Because Krishna is absent in offensive chanting. Did you know that? This is a heavy statement. This statement could ruin your day, but I hope maybe it can inspire you. Krishna is absent in offensive chanting. That's a statement of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now, you've all read that Krishna dances on your tongue when you chant the holy name. So that statement, I think, has been misunderstood, because if that's true, that means you could chant anyway and Krishna's dancing on your tongue. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says Krishna is absent in offensive chanting. And how do we know that's true? Because by offensive chanting, we make no spiritual progress. And if Krishna were present in offensive chanting, how could we not make spiritual progress? So, have you ever chanted, you can raise your hand and answer this question. Have you ever chanted Japa and felt like Krishna was not present? I asked the question wrong. I should ask it the other way. Yeah, anyway, we've all experienced that. That's, you finish your rounds and you tell yourself, I don't really feel any different than I did before I started chanting. That's because Krishna, I thought Krishna was there for the last 2 hours. I guess he wasn't. I guess I missed him. Okay, very good. You made an effort. You tried to chant your 16 rounds. That's good. But somehow I missed Krishna during those 2 hours. He just didn't show up. I wasn't chanting properly. So there is some confusion about this. Maybe even this sounds controversial. But these are the words of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Krishna is not present in offensive chanting. And it doesn't seem to make sense that Krishna shows up on your tongue when you chant. Okay, shows up on your tongue when you chant without offenses. And I think that statement that Krishna is dancing on your tongue when you're chanting has been the cause of many devotees not making the effort to chant properly, because they thought that Krishna is just there. You just say Krishna, he's there dancing on your tongue. Say, well, wait a minute, not just any kind of chanting. And so I think that's an important distinction to make. Does that help you? Because otherwise, if Krishna's dancing on your tongue, any way I chant should be fine. But any way I chant is not fine. Okay, any other points? We can take questions for later at the end.
Okay. One comment is that we should turn off all our media. Like believe mentioned like social media while chanting.
Yeah, that's actually the 10th offense. inattention. And those are attention grabbing devices. So the idea of inattention is that when you're chanting, your attention is given to something else. Because you can't be inattentive to something unless your attention is on something else, right? It's not like you just blank out and you don't think of anything. I mean, that could happen, but generally, inattention means attention is going somewhere. And social media devices are attention grabbers. So it's best to have them off so you can put your attention on the holy name. Krishna might be sitting in Goloka thinking, hey, Prabhu, your phone's on. Why don't you turn your phone off while you're chanting? Why aren't you giving attention to me? Why you have your phone on? What's wrong with you? You don't like me? Something wrong with me? It would be a funny drama, a devotee's chanting and completely distracted, and Krishna's like, something wrong with me? You don't like me? You don't want to talk to me? You don't like the way I look? Or what's wrong here? And so we're giving our attention to other things other than Krishna. And what's so interesting about that? Okay, it's understandable for a conditioned soul to give their attention to other things. But to do that while you're chanting japa, think about that. That's really strange, isn't it? I may be distracted by so many things, but when you're in front of me talking to me, then to be distracted, that's a problem. That's offensive, right? Okay, so anything else, or we can begin today's session?
Yes, we can begin. There's one question. As you said, we can take that later.
Take it at the end, yeah. So I wanted to share with you something that I've discovered that is, I think, foundational to good japa. And it's not always easy to do this, but if you can master this, then everything else we taught yesterday and whatever else we will teach today will be much easier to do. And I began speaking a little bit about this inadvertently when I said you want to give it's a sign of devotion to give your attention to Krishna when you're chanting. And we all know that Maya is jockeying to try to grab our attention. And it's sometimes a struggle when we chant japa to keep our attention on our chanting. And I've discovered one of the main causes for this is that when we begin chanting, as I was saying earlier, we have not created the right mood and atmosphere. And I think that example of a man coming home from work or a man going to work, or now most women are working, also the same thing, is applicable. When you go into a certain environment, you need to be in a certain consciousness to do whatever it is you have to do in that environment. And so the mood and consciousness that you have at work requires a certain way of thinking, which is different from the mood and consciousness you have when you're at home. And so in those different environments, you have to make the adjustment. And if you have the work environment at home, you'll be very strict and disciplinary and very serious. And, why is daddy acting like he's the boss of the house? What's wrong with him? And if you go to work with the daddy consciousness and just, like patting everyone on the back and buying everyone cookies and telling them how much you love them, people will think, wait a minute, there's something wrong with him. It's a different mood. It's a different context. And so one of the problems that I've noticed is that we often go into japa, but it's like we're not entering the japa world. We're still in this world, the world we live in, the consciousness we live in, the normal consciousness we need to interact with the world is not the consciousness, excuse me, that we need to chant japa, and vice versa. When you interact with the world, you have to be present to what you're doing. You can't be, driving down the street, going through every red light, whatever, Krishna's God, just Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No, you have to stop at the red lights. You have to be conscious. But when you're chanting japa, that's not required. You don't need to be in this current time, place, and circumstance. You need to be in the current time, place, and circumstance of whatever is required to facilitate your japa and be with Krishna and reveal your heart to Krishna. And so one of the biggest problems that I've noticed in my life and in devotees' lives is that when we begin chanting, we haven't made a significant shift, and we're still very much absorbed in what is going on in our life. And so that's why when we're chanting japa, we're thinking so much about this and that and this and that, because the thinking of this and that is what we normally do. That's the normal consciousness. And so the problem is now I'm in normal consciousness, where I should be in the meditator's consciousness or the japa chanter's consciousness, but I'm in normal consciousness. And normal consciousness doesn't work for japa, just as japa consciousness doesn't work for the normal world. You can't function if you're off in Vaikuntha while you're trying to, do your banking, and how much do you have there? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Just, take some if you want it. It's all Krishna's mercy. No, you can't do that. You have to be practical, right? So in the same way with japa, you can't be grounded in this world and this consciousness, because chanting is a different consciousness. It's a different world, right? Just like, okay, let's give a mundane example. So you're a guy, you're out with the boys and you're like playing basketball and you're all sweaty and smelly and you have a date tonight. So now, when you come home, you have to get in like girl mode. Like, okay, if I was with the boys, I'd just go out and stay smelly and keep the same clothes, and we go out and do something stupid like guys do, right? But I'm going out with a girl, so I have to bathe and I have to put on nice clothes and cologne, and it's like girl conscious. It's like you can't go boy consciousness and then go out with a girl, right? It has to shift. So we often chant japa in boy consciousness when we need girl consciousness. Or if you're a girl, you chant in girl consciousness, you need boy consciousness. So that's the problem. Now, the problem becomes worse when we start talking about, I have to control my mind when I chant japa, which is, of course, true. But how can you control your mind if from the very onset you haven't taken your mind off your life? How can you control that? The answer is you can't. Until you pull it off your life, it's not going to be controlled. So here's the problem. And I think this is a big problem. And I don't know if a lot of devotees notice this or realize this, but your mind is in the world. You begin chanting japa, and now you're trying to control your mind while your mind is still in the world, which is basically impossible because your mind is just going to be thinking like it normally thinks. And so now you're chanting japa and you're putting tremendous amounts of energy in trying to control your mind, which you can't control while it's still focused in this world. So you're putting all your energy, instead of praying to Krishna, instead of showing your intention to Krishna, which is the real mood of japa, you're putting energy in trying to control your mind, which you'll never control unless you take it out of the world and bring it into the japa world where you don't have to control it, because now it's perfectly aligned with the mood of japa. So when Prabhupada said, you don't have to, it's not a question of the mind, it's just you have to hear and chant. It's like your mind has to be in this proper consciousness, and then automatically your mind is there with the holy name. But if you begin chanting and you just find your mind is wandering everywhere, where is it going? You're just thinking about, I have to do this and I have to do that. And how am I going to do this? And how am I going to do that? And what happens when I do this and that? And what if it doesn't work? And you're 16 rounds, it just worries, because a lot of us just worry. That's our nature. I don't know if any of you are what we call worry warts, but some of you are worry warts. And I bet if you're a worry wart, when you chant japa, you go through your list of things you worry, and then you just go over the list like, over and over again while you chant japa. What a waste of japa, isn't it? To go over your worry wart list, right? And then while you're doing that, you're trying to control your mind. And how can you control it if that's where you put your mind? It's like sending an alcoholic to the bar and saying, control your mind. Just don't go to the bar, go to church. Then you'll have no problem. But, if you're alcoholic in the bar, that's a tough place to control your mind. So now all your energy is, don't drink, I can't drink, don't taste it. Why do you want to put all your energy into fighting your alcoholism? Well, if you just go to the church, you don't have to fight it because nobody's drinking. God is there, everything's fine. So it's a little bit like that. It's like we're alcoholics trying to chant japa in the pub. We want to chant in the church. We want to have the mood, the right mood. And so what is so sad about this is we're putting so much energy into controlling our mind when we have a mindset where it can't be controlled until we change the mindset. Get out of the pub. Then you don't have to struggle anymore. You don't have to put all your energy into trying to control your desire to drink. Just go to church. It's fine. So once you go to church, now your mind is there. So there is a mindset. There is a mindset that we need to develop before we chant. And my personal experience is, if you just do this, it's kind of automatic that your japa is good. And if you don't do it, it's kind of automatic that your japa is not that good. I can't say it's going to be bad, but what I would say is that if you don't have the right mindset, you're just chanting and chanting and chanting to develop that mindset. And once you get the mindset, that's when your rounds get better. But why waste 8 rounds trying to get that mindset when you can start with that mindset? So what is the mindset that I'm talking about? It's not even, in a sense, it's not even a mindset. It's preliminary to the mindset. It's doing what you need to do so the mind automatically sets itself in the right way. Hit these switches, and then the mind's in the right place. So when we're chanting, we, in the ideal sense, the perfect, if you were chanting purely, you would be seeing Krishna Lila. Did you know that? You would be chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, there's Radha and Krishna in the groves of Vrindavan, Krishna, Krishna, Hare. And Prabhupada said, you sometimes see a devotee when they're chanting, they're laughing. And you think, oh, he's laughing at me. He thinks I'm stupid. No, they're seeing Krishna Lila. That's why they're laughing. And then sometimes you see devotees chanting and then they're crying because Krishna has just left and now they're feeling separation and they're crying. That's what's good. They're in the Leela, right? So now, when you chant japa, whose Leela are you in? Gabriella, are you in Gabriella Leela or Krishna Leela? Ekant, are you in Ekant Leela or Krishna Leela? Dinanath, are you in Dinanath Leela? Dinanath and Manjari Leela, or are you in Radha and Krishna Leela? Whose Leela are you in? So isn't it maybe the ultimate paradox of the universe that I'm chanting Hare Krishna and meditating on my Leela? I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm going to eat chanting my rounds at 7 in the morning. This is what I'm going to eat for breakfast. And I made my whole breakfast during japa. It's like, have you ever done that before? Made your breakfast in your mind during japa. Parker was eating his breakfast during japa, right? That's kind of good. You can imagine a nice breakfast, something you won't normally get. Pancakes with strawberries, whipped cream. So maybe the ultimate irony in the universe is that I'm thinking of my Leela while I'm chanting Hare Krishna, right? And so, but that's the problem. So in order to be with Krishna, practically and figuratively, I have to leave. I have to go. Okay, Krishna's coming over. Okay, let's get the house ready for him and let's wind down, and Krishna's coming over and we can just like be with him. And so that's kind of what you have to do. It's like you have to wind your life down when you chant japa. Okay, now we're chanting japa. So now we need to, well, let me do the sound effects of what should happen before you chant japa. Your mind is going, this, do that, this, what about this? What if this happens? Oh no. Then I have to call him, oh no, I forgot this. And now it's time to chant japa. That's what has to happen. And now, as soon as it goes boom, knock, knock, Krishna's come to the door, you're ready for him. But if Krishna comes over and it's that he's sitting down, he's talking to you, and you're like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to go here, I have to go there. And it's like, doesn't work, right? So if you just can get to everything becomes easy after that, because now there's nothing going on inside, and now you can be absorbed in chanting, and you will automatically be absorbed in chanting. That's my experience if you do that. And if you don't do that, you'll be fighting your mind because you haven't turned your mind off. You haven't turned your life off. Your life is active. You know, I think one of the tricks of Maya is called life in Kali Yuga. Because, you know, all of you who came from India, you thought, oh, I'll come to America, it'll be fantastic. Your life is like 108 times more complicated than it was in India, right? It's like life in the West is complicated, you know? And we tried to make it easier. It's more complicated because you can do 100 things. You know, when I was a kid, you could do like one thing. You'd like take your bike and go somewhere. Now you can do like 100 things every second. So it makes it complicated. It's supposed to make it easier. It's much more complicated, right? So we all have so much going on in our lives that, you know, 50 years ago, people couldn't do because they didn't have the facility to do that. Their lives were quite much simpler. I wouldn't say simple, but simpler. So we have a lot going on, right? We have more information in our heads from social media, right? It's like our head is full of stuff, and our lives are busy like anything, isn't it? Like, raise your hand if you could use like 32 hours a day. That would be better than 24. How about 48 hours a day? Yeah, I think 48 would be good. You know, if we had like, you know, 14, if I had 14 days a week, yeah, if that was a week, I could probably, you know, catch up, right? So there's so much going on. And if you're going to chant japa, you have to somehow or other, you have to figure out how you can turn all that off. You can just get the, you can get it to, and now you can give your attention to Krishna. But how are you going to give your attention to Krishna if you have all this other stuff going on? You're not going to be able to do it. But when a boy and girl fall in love, they're really good at giving their attention to one another, isn't it? So it's not that you can't do it. You definitely can do it. It's not that the mind can't switch, right? That boy plays basketball, comes home, takes a shower, puts on his cologne, his nice clothes, looking good, combs his hair, you know, puts on his earrings, short shirt, shows his muscles. He's ready, you know. He knows he's shifting into another mode. We can do that. We know how to shift. So once you shift into that mode where you're not really thinking about your life and worrying about all of that, you're going to have a realization that, oh my Govinda, my rounds are so much better and I didn't even try to chant better. They're just better because there's nothing else but me and Krishna. That's it. That will be your realization. And all that mental energy that was going to control my mind, I got to control my mind, my mind's going here and there. You don't have to do that because your mind's not going here and there because you've detached from that. And now all that energy that was going in to control your mind can go into your intention to chant, oh, Krishna, please help me. Krishna, bring me closer to you. Krishna, purify me, empower me. All your energy can go into your intention. Otherwise, your intention in japa is just trying to focus on hearing, and all your energy is going into this endless battle against a mind that's active in this world. You have to deactivate it. Pull the plug out. So if anybody asks you, what did Mahatma Prabhu talk about today? Just say, that's what he talked about. And they'll say, what was that? You say, that is the plug you pulled out of your mind before you chant japa. And all your thoughts went, and now you're ready to chant. Hare Krishna. This, I don't know how to stress this enough. This is so important. So important. It's if you don't do this, it's like trying to do heart surgery and you never went to medical school. It's not going to work. I'm a butcher. I know how to do heart surgery. No, you don't. Got to go to medical school. Yeah. I know how to chant Hare Krishna. No, you have to enter this mood. This is the proper way to enter it. Now, the last thing I want to say, and then we'll have a discussion and have some questions. And I had touched upon this before. The intention with which we chant is really the essence of our japa. That's what empowers our japa. And different gurus, acharyas in the past, have told us that the holy name has different meanings. But when you read the meanings, you understand these were very personal meanings to them. And then you see actually these meanings were prayers. What does the holy name mean? Krishna, please. And then they fill in the blank with what it is they want. Make me qualified to serve you. Bring my heart. Please bring my heart to you. Krishna, please make me pleasing to you. Krishna, please accept me. Please, Krishna, please engage me in your service. All the meanings given to the mantra were prayers. Isn't that interesting? So, what does the Maha Mantra mean? Krishna, let me serve you. Krishna, accept me. Krishna, let me become a pure devotee. What? I want to offer something to you, and I would like you to do this today or tomorrow, or maybe if there's time, we can do it. Think of something that you really need help with, like something that's really difficult for you to overcome on your own, or something difficult for you to achieve. It doesn't have to be that I need help overcoming a problem. It could be I need help achieving something that's difficult, which is kind of like overcoming a problem, but in a different way. Think of something that you really need help with in either achieving or help with in overcoming. And just right now, think of it. Think of that thing. What is it? I'm sure, you're saying, oh, I have so many things. Just think of the biggest one, the biggest problem. Like, what do I need help with? In my spiritual life, what is, something that's really problematic for me? Or in my spiritual life, what is something I really want to achieve that I'm not there yet? This is so important for me to achieve. And I'm just having difficulty getting there. I'm not pure enough. I'm not advanced enough. I need this realization. I need this consciousness. I desire strongly to be on this level of bhakti. Okay. So now with that one thing in your mind, right now, I want you all to chant one Maha Mantra. Okay, we'll chant together one Maha Mantra with that desire, with that intention that Krishna, please help me with this. Okay? Whatever that is, Krishna, please help me with this. We'll chant one Maha Mantra. Okay? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's intentional japa. That's what japa means. Japa doesn't mean, oh, Krishna, help me get my 16 rounds done before I kill myself. This is so boring. That's not what japa means. Oh, Krishna, why do I have to chant 16? Why couldn't make it 4? Over in the Gaudiya Math, they only require 4. Why do we have to do 16? This is so hard. I don't like it. I like kirtana. You know, that's not what japa is all about. Oh, I have to pay my bills. Oh, this anxiety. And what are we going to have for breakfast? That's not what japa is about. So these are the two things I wanted to communicate with you today. You create that environment. What's the environment again? Doo, boom. You remember that sound? That's what we taught in class today. Doo. And the next thing we taught was expressing intention. This is what I want. The Maha Mantra is a prayer. Now, you're going to say, but Prabhuji, Prabhupada says the Maha Mantra means Krishna, please engage me in your service. It does mean that. But under the umbrella of Krishna, please engage me in your service can be a million other intentions. Because if I have an obstacle, let's say I'm very envious and it's really become a problem for me and I'm becoming critical of devotees. And I say, Krishna, please help me overcome this envy. It's what I need to be able to do service purely to you, to overcome this envy. So it's under the umbrella of Krishna, please engage me in your service. Krishna, help me become a pure devotee. Well, if I'm a pure devotee, I can do better service, right? So it's under that umbrella. Now, here's something which we need to discuss, which can be problematic, because some of you are thinking, but I thought I was just supposed to hear and just supposed to chant. And Prabhupada said, yeah, he said, if you can't think of Krishna's pastimes, then just hear. Like, you know, if you can't do it the way it should be, then do it mechanically. So just hearing is a little bit mechanical. But when you chant with prayer, it's not like you're thinking in your mind, oh, I'm envious, I don't want to be envious. It's coming from the heart. It's not even in words. It's a feeling. Krishna, help me. You know what you need help with because you live with that problem. It's ingrained emotionally. So when you Hare Krishna, it's just there. It doesn't have to be a conscious thought. It's an emotion. And what I have found is when you put that emotion, that's when you actually can hear the best. That's when you're most present with Krishna. When you're fully giving your heart. And now, because we've cleared our heart out of all the stuff, all the busyness in our day, we can put this in our heart. And if this is the only thing in our heart, you'll actually see you can be fully absorbed in hearing at that point. It's so nice. And at that point, you don't even have to try to hear because you're present. You're present with Krishna and your prayer. So don't be afraid to have individualized prayers when you chant that are, I don't want to say subconscious, but it's empowering your mood. It's empowering your intention. Some of us, when we chant, we're just praying, Krishna, I want to be a pure devotee. I want to be empowered to please Prabhupada, please you. And in order to do that, I need to be a pure devotee. And in order to help other people, I need to be a pure devotee. So that's all contained and boiled down into one emotion, Hare Krishna, which is this emotion, I want to be pure. But if you unpack that purity, there's so many levels of purity that I want, that I need, but I don't have to consciously think that way because it's just a desire. Hare Krishna, it all comes out. And the example I often think of is if a child is crying, they're not speaking, they're crying. Within that cry, there may be so many desires, right? Mommy, where are you? I'm alone. I'm afraid. Are you coming back? Have you left me? All these things are going because the child doesn't see her mother. So she's crying. And all these thoughts or emotions are in the cry, but they're not conscious. They're coming on an emotional level. So that's what I'm talking about. Prabhupada said, the holy name means Krishna, please accept me. Please engage me in your service. And then Prabhupada gave a lecture on it. And Prabhupada explained the emotion behind, or at least one of the emotions behind this. He said, one of the emotions behind this is, I have served Maya for millions of lifetimes, and I have suffered for millions of lifetimes. And now in this lifetime, I just want to serve you. I don't want to serve Maya, but Maya is so strong. She's always calling and attracting me, and I'm praying for strength to be able to always serve you. And I'm praying for strength to be able to serve you purely, because I don't want to serve Maya, but because of my conditioning, I'm frustrated because Maya is always pulling me. And isn't it a fact that we all feel this way? Definitely, we all feel this way. Now, if you bring that feeling into the Maha Mantra, Krishna, I want to be your pure devotee. I just want to serve you. I don't want to serve Maya. I am frustrated. I'm embarrassed. I am tired of serving Maya. I want to serve you, and I want to be pure, and I want to enter in this relationship. And I'm begging you, accept me back in that relationship. That's what it means. Krishna, please engage me in your service. That's what the holy name means. That's the mood of it. So when we're chanting that mood of whatever it is that you're struggling to overcome or want to achieve, it's all within that mood. It's just a detail. So your own desire, your own prayer, it's very important because it's real for you, and that will have the most emotional intent. And when something has emotional intent, it fixes your heart, and then you just become very connected and absorbed when you're chanting. So this is what I would like you to take as really the essence of these last 2 days. That creating this environment upon which you can place this mood and practicing this, and it will improve your japa. For some of you, it'll improve it a little bit because you're already doing this to one degree or another, and this will just be like maybe just a reminder. For those who are more, just get my 16 rounds done, it's a process. We're approaching it more that way. This will be like day and night for you. So I think right now, we should take that one thing that you were praying to Krishna for, and I think we should chant 1 round. And then after that, we should have some questions. And so we'll go a little later. Those of you who need to leave in 5 minutes, you can leave. And then we'll chant in this mood, because we need to put this into practice, because now that I've just explained it, it's fresh in your head. So we're going to chant with the intention that we made previously, a few minutes ago. We're going to chant with that intention. And before we chant, what are we going to do? We're going to create this mood. We're not going to be thinking about breakfast. We're not going to be thinking about what we're going to be doing later. We're not going to be thinking about all the people we don't like. We're not going to be meditating on Donald Trump. None of that. We're going to be just now with Krishna. Our life has gone, our life has crashed. We're now entering into the region of the heart of our intention to offer that to Krishna. Okay, so we'll chant about a round. When we have our japa retreats, I never tell devotees how many rounds we're going to chant. I just say, start chanting, and I'll tell you when to stop. We might stop in 10 minutes. We might stop in 10 hours. Just don't worry about it. But here we have a time limit. But the idea is, don't worry about the time. If you can forget the time and you can forget where you are, that's really good. Okay? So we'll chant. And then I'll tell you when it's time to finish. And then we'll have a little time for questions. For those who want to stay later, we can do some questions. And you can also share your realizations. Okay? Get in that mood. Turn your life off. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. I'm sorry to stop your chanting. I know you want to chant for the next 6 hours. But you're welcome to continue chanting after class. So, the nature of this topic and the nature of what we have done so far is such that I'm sure you have questions. And also, I would like to hear your realizations. But in order to do this, we're going to have to extend beyond the time we had originally allotted. Is that okay, Shubha Vilas?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So if any of you have to leave, please feel free to leave. I don't want to make you feel obligated that you have to stay. And of course, you can listen to the recording. And I think it would be good in any case for all of you to listen to the recording again, because you'll pick up more. It will reinforce more. And before we have questions, would some of you like to share your experience for this round we just chanted? And if your experience was not good, I would also like to hear those who struggled, because if anyone didn't have a good experience or was struggling or had partially a good experience, partially a bad experience, it's good for us to talk about it, because we can discuss how to correct that. So would someone like to share? You could just raise your hand.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Jamna Priya. So
Hare Krishna.
actually here we broadcast your lecture also through the another social medium. And also more devotees can also hear in a lecture.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, they can also see your cream.
Good. In the Chinese devotees.
Yeah.
Good.
About maybe over 10, about 20, maybe 20 devotee. Yeah, they are still
Yes.
online hearing a lecture, and also they can see you.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'd like to share my own experience that when you suggest that we should chant with a strong prayer that
Yes.
Krishna, we need your help, and we need your empowerment so that we can do some service. So when I'm in this strong prayer, it cultivated me a certain mood. I think in this mood, I can chant attentively, because I have a strong desire. Krishna, I need your help. So I need a complete depend on you. This is my only thought when I chant.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
I think,
Perfect.
I can chant better than before. But my question is that when we in a prayer mode, like Krishna, I need your help. I need completely depend on your power to do some service. That thought is also a kind of inattentive.
No. That is. She's asking if I'm praying for Krishna to help, some empowerment or whatever I need. Is that a kind of inattention? No, that's a kind of attention, because that's the meaning of the mantra. That's what the Maha Mantra means. Krishna, please help me.
Okay.
So that you're
Okay.
actually connecting more deeply with the meaning, but it's more connecting with the mood. Because you could say the Maha Mantra means Krishna, I need help. All right, well, how do you need help?
Yeah.
So what you said before, when you pray for help, it empowers you to become absorbed. That's the answer. It's the same.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important point. But that's my realization also. When you're absorbed in that kind of prayer, you naturally are more absorbed in your chanting. You. If your heart, wherever your heart is, that's where your mind is. Right? So if your heart is about all the things I'm worried about and all the things I have to do today, that's where your mind is. And if your heart is, Krishna, please help me, that's where your mind is. And that's why you can get more absorbed that way. And you don't have to battle with your mind, because your mind will go wherever your heart goes. So you work on your heart.
Yeah, the mind become one-pointed thought.
Yeah.
Krishna,
Yeah.
I only need your help. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and because
Okay.
that's where your heart is, that's where your mind is.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
when you're
very
just
helpful.
you battle your mind, but you don't change your heart, you're going to lose the battle.
Yeah. That's a point. Yeah. Thank you.
Just a side point. A lot of times we try to control our mind, but the origin of the thoughts are more subconscious, and unless we change on a more subconscious level, the thoughts don't change. And that's why we try to change thoughts, but they keep coming back because we haven't changed what's causing the thought.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so the right
that's a good.
attitude affects the right thinking, which just allows you to hear more. It naturally allows you to hear more. And then the experience is powerful.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. Someone else want to share?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the class and giving the idea that when we are chanting, Krishna is coming, and when we are inattentive, we are not giving him the attention, and he's thinking what's wrong with him. So that I was able to get very emotional in the chanting, and I even cried. So thank you so much for that. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Crying is the perfection. So if we can cry more when we chant, then we're doing good. That's what we want. And I can also make you cry. Just meditate when you're chanting on this other prayer Prabhupada gave us, Krishna, please accept me. And then you realize that, oh, I turned my back on Krishna. That was like horrible. And now I'm asking for acceptance. And that empowers your chanting also. There are many ways you can empower your chanting. So whatever, I always find whatever is most real for us is what will empower us the most. The real problems or the real desires. Once in a Japa retreat, I said, what if I gave you a touchstone which could fulfill your desire? You could get anything you want from the holy name. What would you want from the holy name, or what would you want to experience? Just write it down. Oh, I'd like to experience this from the holy name, or get this or that. So everybody wrote down. I said, okay, well, why not chant now with that desire? Oh, holy name, please reveal to me this, or when will I get a taste? Or please destroy all my envy in my heart. And so we chanted that way. And so that empowered our chanting. So the holy name is actually a touchstone. That's what it is. And the beautiful thing that Prabhupada said is Krishna will fulfill your desire. And if Krishna will fulfill your desire, then you should let him know what it is. And don't think, oh, he already knows. No, he wants you to tell him. So tell Krishna, I want to be pure. I want to be whatever it is you want to be. Or I want to overcome my greed, my envy, my lust. I want to be empowered. I want to be able to help other people. Whatever it is you want. Let Krishna know and he'll help you. Or maybe you just think, Krishna, I'm crazy. Please make me sane. Or Krishna, I'm a gross materialist. Make me a spiritualist. Whatever it is. And it's, as I said, it's not like it's a predominant thought when you're chanting. It's a mood. It's the mood under the umbrella of pure devotional service. Please engage me in your service. Please help me. That's the umbrella. And the specifics are the emotion with which you're approaching the holy name. And then it'll be amazing. There's this story which expresses one emotional way Prabhupada approached the holy name. He was chanting Japa and he was crying. He was in Mayapur, and this was before he began his movement, and he was getting ready to go to America. And the Pujari said, why are you crying? He said, I'm totally unqualified for this mission my spiritual master has given me. So I'm praying for this empowerment. And so Prabhupada was crying in the prayer for empowerment while he was chanting. So this is just an example, one of many examples of how one can apply the holy name in a personal situation. Some of you have service. Maybe it's difficult. You can pray like Prabhupada. Please, Krishna, help me. When I when I decided to take disciples, it was a little bit like that, and said, "Oh, this is an impossible service, Krishna. You Hare Krishna, you have to help me." So you'll all get so many impossible services at some point in your life, and Hare Krishna. Okay, Krishna, I feel like I'm jumping off a mountain, and I'm just chanting Hare Krishna, hoping you'll catch me. It's something like that. And that's what Prabhupada did. He jumped off the mountain and came to America, doing an impossible service for which he felt he was unqualified, and he was just crying for the qualification. Thank you. So who else would like to share?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Thank you very much for such a wonderful seminar. And I feel that recently my chanting was becoming more and more dull. And this seminar is like a bounce back for me.
Good.
So another thought of this one round which we just did together is that earlier I used to have 10 different prayers when I do my japa. Krishna, please purify me. Krishna, please engage me in service, this and that. But what I am realizing that I think I should dedicate my one round on one particular prayer instead of 10 different prayers. And it helps me to bring back to that one prayer whenever my mind wanders. So that is something probably I'll try now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that Krishna, please help me is, every day or every week we need help with something else. And we always need help becoming pure devotees. So yeah, it's much more focused. But what you'll find also is maybe you might find an emotion or a feeling that accommodates all those things into one, because you'll see actually they're all the same in some sense. So that could also happen. Hare Krishna. Anyone else like to share? Or ask, we can have one or two more share, and then we can take some questions.
Please raise your hand if you want to share some realizations or reflections.
It can be, we didn't get anybody sharing a problem yet. Sharing problems are actually better, because then we can talk about how to improve.
I'll share, Prabhuji, no problem. You mentioned about, taking the plug out.
Yeah.
Which is very, very nice. But I wish it was that easy. Because taking a mechanical, plug out is easy, and the electricity is stopped. But taking that mind plug out is, I feel, very difficult.
So, no, you're right. It is difficult. But I think maybe we can think, if I actually honor this relationship with Krishna, then I'll take the plug out, and that will help you. Because taking the plug out is not just something you do to chant better japa, but it's also what you do to honor the holy name so that you can be present to it. So maybe you can add that to your mood in pulling out the plug. And I'm not just doing this like as a mechanical process, but I'm doing it to honor my relationship with Krishna. And if I'm going to actually chant properly, then this is fundamentally what I have to do. Just like, if you're going on a vacation with your family, you have to unplug from your job so you can, be there with them. You can't be on the phone with your office and this and that. And so even the people in the office call, you just say, "I'm sorry, I can't take the call." That's out of respect to your family. So something like that. Think, this is the least I can do to respect my relationship with Krishna. And that might help. But it is definitely true that it's a challenge, for sure. And it's something that we may have to constantly be doing while we're chanting and reminding ourselves. But I think the more we respect that relationship, and the more that we give priority to that relationship in japa, the easier it's going to be and the more natural it will be. And then someday, Shubha Vilas, hopefully sooner than later, you will come to a point that when you chant japa, this will just naturally happen. Because it's like, you come home from work. Okay, my wife told me when I come home from work, leave my work and I have a hard time doing that, and it created problems, but I've tried. And now when I do it, I automatically, when I come home, it's just my work is left at the office. It'll become a habit. And that will be a great day when that happens. And your japa will be like a rocket ship to the moon. Nothing can stop you.
Only by
Okay,
the prayers of devotees like you. Thank you.
Vrindavani wants to share? Okay.
You please unmute yourself, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please
Hare
accept
Krishna.
my humble obeisances.
Jai Vrindavani.
Jai Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, sometimes, in spite of everything, I'm not able to concentrate on the job. Means I do have some bad rounds.
You do have
By
what?
your blessing. Sometimes I do have some bad rounds. What should I do about it?
Yeah. So, many years ago, Satsvarup Maharaj wrote a book called Japa Reform. And he said, after we chant japa, we should reflect on what went well and what didn't go well and what can I do to improve. And I really like that. So I think that would be helpful, because reflection is so important, because reflection is what causes us to improve. And I think one of the problems with a lot of us is we don't reflect. We don't do something well and we don't reflect, and we just continually do it poorly, and we tell ourselves, oh, well, this is the best I can do. Well, that's not true. We can do better. So reflection really helps. Asking questions like, why am I chanting this way? How can I improve? Sometimes the why is more important than the how, because the why is the cause of the problem. So, why am I doing this? Why am I neglectful? Maybe I'm not taking it as important as it should be. Maybe I'm taking other things to be important. I'm trying to finish my round so I can do some service. I don't realize this is the most important service right now. Things like that. Change in the mentality, maybe. That would be part of the reflection. So you can try that and see what happens.
Oh. Guru Maharaj, especially when, in Vrindavan mood, we do 64 rounds per day now. So 16 rounds are very good. But after that, it becomes like mechanical.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. And I don't want to scare you, but, if you chant 16 good and 48 bad, the 48 bad are creating a samskara. It's like, okay, I'm chanting in a distracted way. So you don't want to create a distracted samskara. That's not good. So we have to be careful if we're chanting extra rounds to make sure we're not creating bad habits by doing that. And
no, but I'm hearing it, Guru Maharaj. I chant and hear. That's it. I don't think about anything. But they're not that good as those 16 rounds,
Yeah, well, okay. So you can reflect. How can I make those better? Okay. What can I do? Increase the mood to become pure devotee.
Thank you so much. You bless me, then I'll do proper rounds.
In the last 48, you can pray to get back to Vrindavan.
Okay. You bless. Your blessings will help me.
Vrindavani belongs to Vrindavan, but now she's in Houston. And so that should be an intense prayer to get back to Vrindavan. Krishna, help me get back. Radha, help me get back to Vrindavan.
Yeah.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, who else
Krishna.
wants to share or have a question?
So I have received 6 private messages and they all want to ask something. So we'll try, but please.
Okay, I'll try to give short answers. Let's see if we can get through this. Okay,
Sangeeta Mataji, you are next. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to your class and all the disciples. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to ask question. So to say, Guru Maharaj, when we were chanting together, I got distracted by the family, so I couldn't concentrate. But then I concentrate on your chanting, and even just concentrating on while you're chanting, that gave me some kind of really positive sparks within myself. And that was amazing feeling that really I would like to share. That though I was not chanting with my own wording, I was just hearing you very carefully, concentrating on your chanting, and then it really gave me pleasure. And the second thing, I just have a one question. Can I ask Maharaj with your permission, please?
Yes,
Hi.
yes.
Yeah. Like when we say about the desires, you said earlier about the desires. So I understand that we're not supposed to ask any desire to Krishna, but isn't it like the Krishna is our parents, like is our father? So if we don't cry to our father, who will go and ask for something what we want? Because it's not about we want, but sometimes necessity in this material world to survive. And sometimes there's so much of stress around you, which is like let's say just one example, I say, let's say if I don't have a job right now, maybe I'm okay with I don't have a job, fine. But maybe my family are not okay with that I'm not having a job. And they're thinking that, oh, you're sitting home and doing what? Just doing this whole kirtan and all these lectures, and they're not going to let you anywhere. So that is another stress level builds up more. And then
Yeah.
your consciousness, actually, when you're chanting in the morning, first thing when I wake up in the morning from 4:30 or 5 to chant my 60 round, I do. Sometimes I feel very sleepy because when I'm late sleep, then only I have like a couple of, like I feel like, okay, I need a cup of tea now. So I make one of my decaffeinated tea, and then I don't do drink until 8 rounds completes. And then after 8 rounds, I drink some, and then I do my another 8 round. But as you mentioned today, you mentioned so many beautiful points, which I have like noted that the way it should be chanting is really something not just for sake of chanting for 16 round, but they should be filled for love for Krishna. And definitely I will try my best from now on, whenever I
Let,
chant.
let me address this idea of if I'm in stress materially and I'm chanting.
Yeah.
One way you can think of that, as Prabhupada said, is you're a devotee, you have faith, Krishna will take care of it, and Krishna knows your stress. So sometimes if I've ever been in a situation and I'm chanting like that, I chant with faith that Krishna, I'm giving my life to you, and I trust that you will take care of everything. So that it's a kind of the stress is caused by the lack of faith. So you try to put that faith into your japa, that's helpful. Or as far as what your parents or others want, relatives want, then class, then that was my wife wondering where I am. Then at least the Maha Mantra is meant for our purification. It's not meant for a tool for our material progress. And now, but for a devotee, our material lives and our spiritual lives are very much connected. So let's say I have a job that's really stressful and it's really time consuming. I may pray to Krishna, please help me in my sadhana. This job is, disturbing my sadhana. So it's not really a material prayer anymore. Or Krishna, my relatives are, causing so much distress. It's disturbing my japa. Can you help me, deal with this situation? You may not say pray for a job, just help me deal with this in a way that I can go on with my bhakti. So if the prayers are housed with this intent of increasing my bhakti, sometimes the prayer may be, oh Krishna, help me with this material thing, but it's not for your sense gratification, it's for your bhakti. So that's a little different. But in the pure state, in the higher state, we would just chant purely to become Krishna conscious, and Krishna, whatever, I know you'll take care of me. I'm not worried. I just want to be pure. So those are some things to meditate on.
That's fun. Yeah, that's really, I think you explained everything. I understand what I need to do.
Good.
Thank you,
Thank
Maharaj.
you.
Thank you, Krishna. I love you a lot.
Thank you. All right, so we have some more Subha Vilas in the chat.
Yes, Renuka Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Very, very nice class. I attended yesterday and today. It was really amazing about the chanting. So we are doing everyday chanting, but we didn't realize so many like offenses what we are committing.
Yes.
So question is, if our mind is wandering, is it okay we stop chanting and do some reading and write down what are the thoughts coming in our mind, and continue our chanting based on like 4 rounds in the morning, 4 rounds in the afternoon. Sometimes if we divide like that, or it's better to sit at one place and we are not supposed to move from that place and finish all our morning.
Well, yeah. I think there's no right or wrong way. Some people will think, well, I'm just going to continue chanting because I'll get through it. And other people will think, what's the use of chanting? Let me stop, like you said, read, invigorate my japa, group my mind and heart, and then approach it again. So it will depend on the individual, how they want to do it. Sometimes when you're not doing well, if you persevere, then it gets better. And sometimes you need to stop and say, okay, I'm in the wrong mood. Let me create the right mood. Offer some prayers, read something like that. So it will depend on you. There's no right and wrong way, but whatever you feel is best. But, if you can get more rounds done earlier, it's always better. And the goal would be that you can do more rounds consistently in good consciousness. But I have been in situations sometimes where I'm trying to chant, and due to circumstances, I have something to do, and there's a time constraint. I can't really focus on my rounds. I'll just put my beads down and say, I can't chant now. I have to get this done. It's on my mind, so why continue? That's why we like to chant earlier. Generally, there's less of that.
And one more question, Maharaj. It's okay then. Thing is, like when we are chanting, our mind is keep on wondering, is it okay we look at the Krishna picture and we think about some past, okay, or we have to focus on that sound vibration and we have to get the mantra?
You can look at pictures, you can look at the Maha Mantra. Prabhupada said, thinking of the pastimes, of course, is the goal, but it should be natural. It should come natural as a byproduct of chanting. It shouldn't be artificial, it's like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, not like that. So the Leela will come when you're chanting, but if you want to think of the pastimes, if they're naturally coming while you're chanting, that's beautiful. But if it's a little artificial, Prabhupada said, no. But you can experiment in your own life, and you can be the one who makes the ultimate judgment about what will empower your japa. And you may say, well, if I think of the Leela a little bit, it gets me back on track. And so, yeah, why not?
And one small question regarding the kids, like they don't feel sometimes like interested to chant, and we have to sometimes force them at least finish one round, some special days at least. So before going to bed. So how can we develop taste for them?
How can you inspire them? By chanting nicely and showing them that you like to chant. And we have a kids japa. Every month we have a kids japa class. We've done 2 already. I think it's like the first Saturday of every month. If you look on my Facebook page, it'll be advertised. If you Google Mahatma Das, then you can come to my website, my Facebook page, other social media, and then we advertise. So I think it's the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. And then we have one in the evening for Australia at 7 p.m. So I think it's 7 p.m. on Friday night and 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, first Friday and Saturday of every month. But you can double check with me.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam. Very, very nice. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, who's next?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
This workshop has been very helpful. The last time I attended your seminar was in Calcutta. I think it was like 8 years back. And it was very good to connect with you again. I would like to share my experience today. When I was chanting, I tried to keep the mood first, but then my mind was wandering. I brought it back. And I must say that I had a quality chanting after, I don't know when was the last time I had a very good chanting. Thank you so much for sharing such wonderful thoughts. And I would like to focus on it for, future chanting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Where are you now? You're now in Tampa?
I am in Bangalore, India.
Oh, you're in Bangalore. Oh. Did you see me in Bangalore when I was there in November?
No, Maharaj, I didn't.
No, not November. I was there in March. It was the last
Okay.
place I was in India. I left for America from Bangalore.
Oh, I missed it then. No, I didn't meet.
But there was a lockdown, so we only had a few small programs. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
You're welcome. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Who else wants to share?
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Very nice class. So, Maharaj, I am trying to improve my chanting. And I did, as you said, that experimentation. I just looking at the Krishna's lotus feet when I'm chanting. So it helps me a lot. And also, I have noticed that like when I'm very happy, like materially and spiritually, like I'm doing more service. And then when I'm also work-wise, like I'm doing good, that time I'm feeling very happy and I can focus much in chanting, as well as when I'm in pain, some distress I am having, that time also I'm able to focus more, like compared to the other time, like regular
Yeah.
time.
Hey, what about stress? Better rounds during stress than happiness, right?
Yes.
That's because we're not fully mature yet. As you mature, then it won't matter. Any situation, you'll relish it because it's sweet. But it's true. We need some stability materially, and it's also true that stress is one of the greatest impetuses, the greatest impetuses for good japa, because we pray more for Krishna's help, right? And that just proves the point. When you're praying for help, it empowers your japa, and stress is what a cause of praying for help. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more devotee. Supriya Mataji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, all ladies Prabhupada and Gurudevara. I have one question regarding why do I feel fearful while chanting?
Why do you feel fearful?
Yes, I feel fearful. Though I chant so nicely, I try to engage my time in more in chanting, but I feel more fearful while chanting. In my heart, it fills me. Why so?
What are you fearful? What are you feeling? What are you afraid of?
That's what I don't know. But whenever I chant, I took the chanting. When I start chanting, it makes me fear in the heart. And I think and goes on thinking like Krishna, Krishna, what is this happening? But still it goes on thinking and it makes me a fearful heart.
Are you afraid of Krishna? Are you afraid of getting close to Krishna?
And no, of course I want to be very close to Krishna, but though it makes me fearful much.
You're afraid of becoming too detached from the material world?
I don't want to be attached to this material, Maharaj. But I don't
And you
know
don't even
what.
know, you don't know what you're afraid of? You must know what you're afraid of.
Yeah, afraid of means like what will lead to the further. But it comes whenever I chant, that time only it fear me. I don't know. When I take the chanting bag and it makes me fear. Oh, what will happen? I try to make my mind in
Okay.
concentrate many
Well,
times.
maybe you should know that only good things will happen and there's nothing to fear.
Okay.
Think like that. Think when you're chanting, thinking, this is so auspicious, this is so beneficial, that only good things will come. And just expect good things to happen in your heart, in your spiritual life, And instead of expecting something bad, expect something good.
Okay.
Because that's what will happen. Yeah, it can only be good. And if you're a devotee, even if something bad happens, it only happens to help you come closer to Krishna. So in the life of a devotee, nothing bad happens, even though we may think it's bad. It's never bad. It's only good. So you can have that faith that as I chant, this can only bring something good.
Yes. Okay. Please bless me to that I can do it concentrated and focused to not to be fearful.
Just just feel in your heart that the holy name is so auspicious. It only bring benefit to me in
Okay.
my life.
Okay. Thank you.
See how
Hare
that
Krishna.
see how that goes. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
are you? Where
I'm
are you?
from Goa.
You're in Goa.
Yes.
Wow. I went to Goa in 1983. We did Harinam everywhere in Goa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Goa is not that good. It's full of clutches of all things, materially much.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, there's a temple there, right?
And yes, very some few centers are there in Goa, Vasco and Fonda Pension.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay.
Prabhupada's mercy. Okay.
Thank you, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to all the devotees for joining. There are devotees joining from all over the world, Bangalore, Goa, and China, and Philippines, and US, and Europe, I believe. So my humble gratitude to every one of you for taking out your time. And most importantly, our deepest gratitude to Grace Mahatma Prabhu for taking out his precious time and going over time only to answer our questions and hear our reflections and giving us such a blissful experience of the holy name. So before we express our gratitude, I've already shared the links for the website, the links for the notes, and the 2 lectures which happened today and yesterday. And as you know that giving in charity, and especially to the right qualified brahmanas like His Grace Mahatma Prabhu for his enormous service to our movement, especially in this month of Purushottam, has like hundreds of times more benefit. Some of you have already, contributed, and I'm going to, give on behalf of group. So either that way, and some of you would like to go directly to the website and contribute directly, because we are all from different places and countries. So please, if you feel inspired, take a moment, and if you would like to offer some donations for Mahatma Prabhu's projects, and that would be immensely helpful. And thank you so much. So Ramya Prabhuji, would you like to take a few moments to share something?
Share something. Well, just always great appreciation to Mahatma Prabhu for his association and helping us here, and the association of all his disciples and followers is very encouraging. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And on SoundCloud, on YouTube, you'll find more. Like whole workshops are recorded, and on my website you'll find articles. On my website, if you go down on the homepage, you'll see there are like 5-6 different topics, the most popular topics. And then if you click on Japa, or any topic, whatever topic you click on, it will list all the articles and where to get all the audio and video to make it easier for you. So I suggest not only what I've done, but what Sajinanand Swami's done, Burijan Prabhu, and others. If you keep, this kata alive, keep talking about this, how to improve, it's very, very helpful. And if you can have in your group meetings and the people in your own preaching programs and with your friends, just be talking about japa and how to improve. If you can have a buddy that you talk to regularly about your japa, hold one another accountable for certain standards. That's very helpful also.
Thank you.
I have to make a confession. During the last japa session, for 1 nanosecond, I thought about breakfast because I haven't eaten breakfast yet. So now I'm going to go eat breakfast.
So before Oji goes for breakfast, now you should all be able to unmute yourselves and turn on your audios and videos so we can properly express our deep gratitude to His Grace Mahatma Prabhu for his time, his services, and helping us in the most essential japa. So with 3 times, we'll call out loudly, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you so
Grace
much.
Mahatma
Thank
Prabhu
you.
ki jai.
You're welcome. Nice to see all of you.
His Grace Mahatma Prabhu ki.
Dr. Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Krishna.
Gauranga. I'm going to
Enjoy
leave now.
your breakfast.
Thank you. Late, a little late, but Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much to all the devotees as well for your time, or you may be in different time zones, but thank you so much for coming and giving your precious association. We're so grateful for that.
Prabhuji, thank you.
Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
For